Hey guys, Steve Welch coming to you from Beaman Toyota in Nashville again. I want to talk to you guys a little bit today about a lot of the anxiety that people get when they come to search for a car and to actually plan on buying a car. There's a lot of people that worry that they just don't know the process. They don't know what's going to happen, so it gives them that worry, that anxiety. They don't know how long it's going to take. They don't know what they need to bring. Realistically, they just don't know what's going to happen. I'd like to alleviate that just a little bit and actually try to help you to understand the process, the procedure, the way that things happen in a dealership when you're trying to buy a car. There's obviously some differences between new and used cars and stuff like that, but overall your process is fairly the same. Realistically, what you're going to do is you're going to walk onto the lot. Choose your salesperson. I'm going to do another video about that, but I said choose your salesperson because it doesn't mean that the person that walks up to you is the person you have to work with. If that person gives you a bad vibe, walk right past them. Go to the next one. Go inside. Find somebody sitting down. Find somebody that works in the dealership that you feel comfortable talking to. Maybe it's not a salesperson, but they usually can lead you to somebody that's going to treat you right. There are some very aggressive people. Some people like that. Some people don't. I tend to be a little bit more laid back. I don't tend to stand out on the front of the lot, things like that. You don't have to run the gauntlet to find me, let's put it that way. So realistically, the first part is to choose your salesperson. Once you, and you might have webbed in too, you might have made a phone call, you might have somebody to actually ask for it you've already spoke to. That's the other thing. Keep in mind, loyalty is big to us. If you spoke to us, ask for us. That's a big deal. Just, we're going to work hard for you. Just make sure that you ask for us. So the first thing that's going to happen is they're going to bring you inside. They're going to sit you down. If you've talked before, this makes it a little bit easier. If you haven't, doesn't really matter. They're going to usually grab something to write on, which is something called a guest sheet or a customer sheet. Now, there's some dealerships that immediately, once you sit down, they'll ask you to do what's commonly called a customer statement. It's also called a credit application. Now, I would say most reputable dealerships, they don't immediately go to that unless you just say, hey, I've got major credit issues. I've got this, that, the other thing on my credit, and I'm worried whether or not I can even buy a car. That particular time, even myself, I'll go to get the credit application at that point to make sure I don't waste a lot of your time. And I'd hate to show you a vehicle that you couldn't buy if you wanted to. Hey, yeah, I love this vehicle. I want it. This is the one I need in my driveway. And find out we're $100 away on payment for what the bank will allow. So that's a reason to do that. But to just start off, you come in and say, hey, I got a 700 credit score. I know I can buy anything I want to. Oh, well, go ahead and fill out the credit application. There's no need for that. There's no reason to do that unless there's a reason to do that. So when somebody immediately starts pushing a credit application in your face, you're probably at the wrong dealership. So I will tell you that. So that being said, of course, so usually your salesman's going to sit down with a guest sheet. They're probably going to ask you if it's a new or used car that you're looking for. They'll have logged you on a login sheet, so management knows that you're working with a customer. It's a way that they can keep track of who's where, and if somebody's gone for a long time, they can know about it. So they're going to ask you some questions. They're going to ask you, if there's, shades of colors that you're interested in, if there's a particular kind of vehicle, if there's, maybe you want an SUV or a car, maybe there's, maybe you have to have a sunroof, maybe you want navigation, maybe you don't, maybe, can't have black interior, must have black interior, stuff like that. They're going to ask you to help them to really narrow down the inventory. Most good salespeople can ask you roughly 10 to 15 questions and have 1 to 2 cars either in mind, whether using their manager's help or whether they know it. You'll get, probably, 1 to 2, maybe a couple others if you've expanded. Well, maybe I want a small SUV, big SUV. Maybe they'll expand it to 3 or 4 cars, but usually you can get it narrowed down pretty easily. At that point, usually what you're going to do is you're going to walk to the lot. We're going to take you to the right car, find the right car depending on the inventory and things like that. So we'll take you to the right car. Now, this is another spot where you differentiate your salesman. A lot of times people will open the car, They'll open the driver's door, say, get in, let's go for a ride. Well, you don't know anything about the car yet other than what you've researched. So going and go for a ride isn't really the right option at that point. What you should be able to do is to open the car, touch the car, feel the car, blow the horn, make sure it sounds right for you. But walk over, look at some safety features, look at some, of the things on the outside of the car, the trunk size, whether it has a tailgate that opens and closes on its own or whether it's a manual tailgate. Just a lot of those things that might be important to you, might be great features to have, but maybe you don't need them, maybe you do. All of those things that you see on the outside, you should actually look at. Then get on the inside, play with some buttons, play with the radio, look at your AC system, make sure everything's where you want it to be, and then set it before you leave. Set things that are like in the Toyota, which I'm, obviously part of. You have things like your lane departure, your dynamic radar cruise control, stuff like that you should set before you get on the road. Doing that will make sure that you're not looking for something while you're traveling down the highway and going, oh yeah, check this button out. You shouldn't do that. So like I said, so watch somebody that just rushes you into the car. That's anytime a salesman's in a hurry, it doesn't end well for you. So I would definitely say don't let your salesman be in a hurry. If they are, ask for a different salesman. I mean, I've taken over deals for people before where a particular salesman they were working with wasn't doing it right, didn't have enough knowledge, things like that, and the customer asked for a different salesperson. Management will know who to get you with. So if for any reason you're uncomfortable, uneasy, a salesperson says the wrong thing, does the wrong thing in any way, ask management for a different salesperson. They're not going to tell you no. They will, sometimes even management will take over and make sure you're taken care of. They don't want you to leave without a vehicle, and if the salesman's stopping that, they'll pull the salesman out from you. So definitely don't be afraid to do that. It's your money, it's your car, and it's your experience. You should own it, and it should be a great one for you. So that being said, you take your test drive. Usually they're going to have a route for you. It's going to be 4 or 5 miles, give or take there. Most times they always teach us to do right turns only. That way you're not waiting in left turn lanes. So you can be prepared for your right turns only. I'm downtown Nashville, so being downtown, sometimes we're limited on what we can do for the ways to get out, but I do have test drive routes that are very nice. So you're going to take that route. Hopefully you can get some highway time. Never decline a test drive. I mean, there's been several people that do it. I don't need one. I drove one at the last store, whatever. Don't decline a test drive. The cars are made by humans. They're made differently. One car behind another car could have something wrong with it. You never know. New car, always take a test drive, and then definitely a used car. Never decline ever on a used car. New cars, sometimes you can understand it, but never on a used car. It's just they're made by humans. Make sure that it's what you want. Make sure it feels good. Think about the long trip that you're about to take, something like that. Make sure that you have that car in a way that you want it. That's going to take care of you. So you're going to take your test drive. Usually your salesman's going to ask you a few questions while you're on the ride. How does it feel? Is there anything that you don't like about anything that you do? Just play with the radio, turn the radio up, turn it down. Just set your car up, like I said, before you leave, and then play with it. So the things that you play with are minor things. Turn the radio up, down, maybe lean your seat back a little bit as you're going, whatever that is. And then playing with your safety systems and the Toyota with the lane departure, stuff like that. But you can do that. You don't have to think a lot about it. You want to eliminate any apprehension, eliminate the feeling that of being nervous. Anytime you're in a brand new car or even a new to you car, you can feel nervous driving. It's not yours yet. You don't own it. So we all understand that. So you can even ask the salesman to take it off the lot for you. It just depends. Some dealerships require that you see, when you drive with the salesperson. So it's just up to the dealership. But obviously you can request it. Don't hold back requesting something you want. You're about to spend a lot of money, and the dealership knows that usually, and they're going to try to take care of you. They don't want you to leave. They don't want you to go anywhere else. They don't want you to go think about it, something like that, because you're uncomfortable with some part of the sales process. So definitely ask questions and be comfortable. If you can't be comfortable, then maybe it's not the right spot to buy a car. So now, here's what you're going to do. You're going to come back at that point. You're going to come into the dealership. You're probably going to be able to possibly see the service department, stuff like that. You're going to walk in. We're going to go back to hopefully the same table that we were just talking at. Some places have offices, things along those lines. You're going to go and sit down, and at that point is when you discuss the numbers of the vehicle. Hopefully your salesperson listened to you at the beginning, because he would have asked you questions along the lines of maybe what are you hoping for your payment to be, maybe your down payment, things like that. If you were somewhat honest with him, which some people try to hold a lot of information back, if you're honest with him, he'll have you on the right car. If you held back, then maybe the car's not trimmed the way you want it. Maybe it doesn't have the options that you wanted. Maybe there's, something that you really wanted, but you didn't ask for it. And because he was trying to hit the payment you told him, or trying to hit the down payment or the out the door number, or whatever that number was. So if you tell him up front exactly what you're looking for, and hey, I want leather, hey, I want this, I want that, and you can do that. If you're a little bit more honest up front, not all salespeople are shady. I'm trying to show you that. But if you give me the information up front, then I can usually have you on the right car. I can save you a lot of time and a lot of grief. But that being said, go back, got your numbers, work with your numbers at this point. Usually there's going to be something like a rebate, if there's anything like that. You'll have normally found a price online. Realistically, especially when you're talking about new cars, let's be realistic here. Every dealership buys a new Toyota, buys a new Chevy, buys a new Ford. Every dealership buys the exact same truck, the exact same car, for the exact same price. There's not a whole lot of variations unless you get into one's got body side moldings, the other one doesn't. Oh, well, yeah, we're $200 difference. Okay. When it comes down to it and it's all said and done, your vehicles are pretty identical. You get the same trim level. An XLE Highlander is an XLE Highlander. You got different colors, you got different trims. Okay, great. I understand all that. But your price point's not a whole lot different. Manufacturers, they limit what you can advertise, what you can do, things like that. So there's not a whole lot that is really in the dealership's hands. Now don't get me wrong, there's dealerships that'll lose money to sell a car. Definitely. Are they liking to do that? No. Will you find a dealership that's always the lowest price every time? Not if they're still around. Will you find one that's the highest price all the time? Not if they're still around. So usually everybody's going to be within a few $100s of each other. A lot of times it comes down to the experience. Do you like the salesman? Do you like the car? Do you like the dealership? Is it close to your house? Things along those lines are a lot of things that should come into play. If it's an extra $300, but it's close to your house, or it's an extra $200 or $300, but that salesman really gave you an education and really took care of you, did the right things to earn you as a customer, it should be worth the extra $200 or $300 or $400 that it cost to buy it from that salesman. He worked for you, or she worked for you. So definitely don't hammer us all the way down on something like that, just because we're trying our very best, and our job as salesmen is to be an advocate for our customer. Most people in the sales industry now are paid based on volume, and when you start talking about volume, you have to sell a certain amount to actually make any money. Realistically, the dealership knows that salesmen aren't making a ton of money on the vehicle. It just doesn't happen that way anymore. So we got to sell a lot of vehicles. So when you go and you go somewhere else after somebody's spent sometimes days getting you information, getting you pricing, educating you on the vehicle. Maybe you've come in 2 or 3 times and weren't ready to take it home yet, and then you go somewhere else. It's something that definitely hurts that salesman. So if you would, and I appreciate when people come back to me and appreciate my knowledge and what I've done for them, and they send me their friends for a good reason. But I'd appreciate if you came back to me and let me sell you the car. If I'm a couple $100 off, chances are I can make it up. So don't go somewhere else trying to get a better price and realize, well, it's about the same thing, I might as well just buy it here. Go back to the person did all the work for you. It showed you the car and everything else, rather than going and being what's known as a laydown somewhere else, because you already knew what the price was. You know what the other place will do. All right, well, we beat it by $100. Well, I guess I'll buy yours. And keep in mind too, not all things are the same. Warranties can differ. And just because you hear things like lifetime warranty, stuff like that, it doesn't mean it's a good one. Differences in warranties are big. Just realize there's differences between dealerships, and a lot of them are small. Some of them are big. Sometimes just having the right vehicle on the ground makes a difference. So your next part now. So you're going to go back and forth on numbers. Maybe sometimes people ask, hey, just give me the no negotiation price. Fine, give you the no negotiation price. A lot of times you'll find out that the online price is really close to the bottom. And the reason is that your online price is what people are using to get you into the dealership. So if you're looking online and you find out that my price online is $1,000 higher than the one down the road, I never had a shot at your business. Even if I would hit the same price in the end, that online price being so much different means I don't have a shot to get you. So realistically, when it comes down to it, you'll notice that online prices are very similar unless you find a different vehicle. If you're looking at a limited on mine and an XLE on the other dealership, well, yeah, it can be $2,000 or $3,000 difference. But if you're looking at the same vehicle, let's even say if it's an all-wheel drive or a non-all-wheel drive, well, that could change you $1,500, $2,000. So realize what you're looking at, and realize that if it's thousands of dollars difference or even several $100s difference, there's something different about the vehicle, whether it's higher, whether it's lower. So it might be an all-wheel drive, might have, several pieces of additional items on there. Sometimes you'll have things along those lines. The other thing I tell people to watch out for is watch out on the vehicle for an addendum sticker. The addendum sticker is sometimes it's needed, and sometimes it's just meant to throw you off. The addendum sticker could have something on there, meaning like, say that you had a truck and they added a suspension kit to it and different wheels and stuff like that. Well, there's going to be an addendum sticker because they made that truck a special truck, and they've added $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 worth of accessories to the truck. They put those on the addendum sticker, and this is the cost of them, and this is why the cost is there, and they've added that up. Now, there are some dealerships out there that do addendum stickers for no reason other than profit. And what it is I know of one in town, just off the top of my head, that does it, and they add $2,500 to the price of a car, and they put ACV. Well, what does ACV stand for? ACV stands for actual cash value. Well, what does that mean? Well, your actual cash value means that that's what they said it's worth in this market, is what, they always say. So realistically, what it is they took the MSRP of the vehicle, they've added $2,500 to it on that addendum sticker, and they want to show you, well, this vehicle is $26,000, when realistically from the manufacturer it's $24,000, so or $26,500. So what do? You start negotiating from $26,500. Maybe you didn't see online, whatever. Maybe they put it online and they said, hey, yeah, it's $26,500 on the sticker, we've lowered it to $25,500. Well, the sticker's still $24,000, but you're negotiating off of a higher number. So when they say, look, we got you $2,500 off, they still sold it to you at sticker price. But that little addendum sticker is a way that they're getting away with bumping the price and then discounting the bump, and you think you got a deal. You didn't. It's a way of being dishonest in that case. Like I said, addendums have their place, but usually it's not. And then also watch for things like you'll see things where a lot of dealerships add things like pinstripes, and they'll add some finishes or some things like that. There's places for those, and there is a value to those, and it is something they're adding from the dealership, but they will usually mark those up a lot. Like pinstripes and stuff, they'll mark those up a lot. If they pre-do it to every vehicle, there's a reason for it. So we don't do it here, so I don't know exactly how much the markup is and stuff like that on there, but they definitely would mark those little things up. Or if they're adding a bunch of extra frills to it, there's a reason. So just realize that. And if you see an addendum sticker where it adds $500, $600, $800 for all that stuff, usually you can negotiate that off. If they've pre-added it, they've made their money elsewhere. They don't need to make it on you. So obviously I'm not the authority on it, but I'd say to try it. So all right, so now let's go back to our procedure here, where we're at. So you've negotiated the numbers. You find a number that works for you, makes sense. It's payment, whatever you're looking to do, down payment, all that's put together. Now at this point, you're going to do some type of paperwork. You're going to do some folder for it here. You're going to fill out paperwork. You're going to fill out things like privacy policies, usually something called like a WEO, which is if there's anything being changed to the vehicle or added or things along those lines. But some basic paperwork. What you do at that point is you're going to end up entering the finance office. Finance manager will go over things that some things he's legally obligated to go over, some things are extra, but he will offer you some things like some insurances, some protections, some warranties, stuff like that. If you choose to do those, definitely there's a value to everything that they will offer you. There's a value and a price, of course, but there is a value to everything. Now, the finance office, the finance managers, they are very good. They understand a lot of these insurance products, things like that. I at least listen to them, because I think you'll find value in what they're offering. You don't have to buy it, obviously, but it would be something that would be smart to consider. All right, so now after the finance, this is where a lot of dealerships differ and a lot of salesmen differ. So you come out of finance, your vehicle would have been to detail already. You're going to have a full tank of gas, usually, depending on the vehicle, depending on the dealership. You're going to come out to your vehicle, look at your vehicle, and do yourself a favor and pull out your paperwork. Make sure the VIN number matches the car that you're about to take. There have been so many times people take a car home, 2 weeks later get a phone call and say, yeah, we let you take the wrong car. So realize your insurance hasn't been covering you the way you thought it was, things like that. Don't leave without looking at your paperwork and look at the VIN number. Make sure it's the car that you asked for. So definitely, but also take a walk around the car. Make sure there's no dents, no dings, no scratches, nothing that maybe you didn't see before. Maybe it was dirty when you drove it. Now it's washed and you've got some damage to it. Look at it. Make sure that it's a nice car. It's everything that you wanted it to be. If it was a used car, maybe it already had some dents and dings. Maybe there's something on there you didn't notice and it's a problem for you. Usually at that point, the dealership can do something to take care of it. If you go home and 2 weeks later you call them up and say, you know what, this dent's really getting to me. Well, you didn't mention it while you were here. That now, some dealerships can still take care of you. Some, you've tied their hands. So, you definitely want to make sure that you do the right thing for yourself and walk over and look at the vehicle. The inside, the outside. If there's anything wrong with it, voice it then. They'll get it taken care of. So now, this is where I was talking about the salesman differ. Now, what I'll do is I'll get back in the car with you. I would have already gone over a lot of things with the vehicle, but you need to do things like pair your phone. You need to look at how to use the navigation system. A lot of the Toyotas have like Doppler radar in them that you can use, things like that. Knowing those things, I can completely overwhelm you with your car. Or I can be a little bit more subdued and just make sure you know the basics. I'll do whatever you want me to do, but there are some salesmen that'll throw you the keys and, kind of the term is kick you in the butt and wave at you as you leave. It's not the way that I normally do it unless somebody asks for that. But like I said, that all comes back to choosing your salesperson at the beginning. You want to make sure you get the right person that's going to, hold your hand through it if you need to, or do any variation between hold your hand and, throw you the keys. So you dictate what you need, and if that person doesn't give it to you, then, like I said, you should have probably picked a different salesperson. So at that point, you're going to leave. You're going to drive off. Usually 3 to 5 days, you're going to, most people will end up getting a survey from the manufacturer asking about their experience. If you have to give a bad survey, realize that you are usually dinging the salesperson only. And if you had a bad experience in finance, then get with the salesperson. He's going to get you with the manager. But a bad survey that comes to the salesperson, it's almost 100% the salesperson. If you don't like the facility, it's against the salesperson. If you don't like the finance manager, it's against the salesperson. It's all against the salesperson. So we've had people before who say, yeah, I love my salesperson, but I hated whatever. Well, whatever that was, you've just dinged that salesperson. So realize that. If you had something bad, you should probably give them a chance to fix it. Most dealerships will go over and above to try to fix something for you, especially before you send in that survey. But then just drive. And if you liked your salesperson, and your salesperson, like I do, I try to stay up. I'll send birthday cards out, things along those lines. I try to stay in contact with my customers. Why? Because I don't want to sell you one car. I want to sell you three. I want to sell you four. I want to, take care of your family, your parents. There's no greater compliment than when you send somebody to your salesperson that is related to you, and you say, hey, go to this person. They're going to take care of you, and you know that you're sending them to that right person. So definitely, any repeats, referrals, they're the lifeblood of a lot of salespeople. They keep us around. So anytime that you can do that for us, we always appreciate it. I will say most of us always appreciate it. But that's the basic sales process. There's not a ton to it. You're not going to be run around and things like that. There's not a lot of reason to have anxiety. There's not a lot of reasons to worry about, what's going on. Some people are like, hey, I'm going to get screwed. Look, if you can get on the website of any dealership, find the vehicle. You can't get screwed. It's published. It's so easy this time and that we're in to find so much information that there's just really the chances of somebody making thousands of dollars on you, it's really hard to do now. And most dealerships don't even try. So they put their best foot forward, put it out online and say, let's here you go, let's make a deal. Now I definitely, like I said, my biggest thing is to make sure that you pick the right salesperson. Pick somebody that's going to take care of you. Pick somebody that's going to be there for a while. My personal thing whenever I was buying, before I was selling cars, is that I would always I didn't want to get the top salesperson. I never did. I didn't want to get the person that was selling the most cars, the person whose picture was up, the person who had a desk that was, permanent or something like that. That was, like you could tell that person was the big shot. I don't want to work the big shot. Big shot knew what he was doing. He knew how to really make the money. Didn't want him to make it on me. I always wanted to go with somebody that had been there a little while. Not somebody that's new, so they at least knew their product, they knew what they were dealing with, and things along those lines. But I didn't want to go with just the average guy, and I didn't want to go with the top guy. I wanted to find somebody in between and realize that you have the right to choose your salesperson. So it's a really cool thing. So if you're anywhere near Nashville, if you want to come to Nashville and get a car, definitely let me know. You can comment to me, you can send me separate messages. I'm definitely here to take care of you. And if you have any questions, definitely ask me. I'm more than happy to try to make something that makes sense that doesn't make sense to you. So give me the opportunity. We'll be more than happy to take care of you here and make sure that you had a great experience. So definitely let me know. You can call me. My direct line is 615-645-3039. That comes to my cell phone. Call or text me on that. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. But definitely, you should enjoy your car buying experience. You should go home. You should smile every time you see the car. Get the one you want. Get the color you want. Get the options you want. And get the payment you want. So definitely do what you have to make it the perfect vehicle for you. And like I said, I hope you give me a shot. Have a great day. We'll be talking to you soon.